presentation is about the history of the evolution of the Korean language. The Korean language is attested from the early centuries of Common Era in Chinese script. The featual Korean script was introduced only in the Middle Korean period in the 15th century. Periodization of the historical stages of Korean is as follows. Proto-Korean is not a well-defined term. It is used mainly to describe the language spoken by the native peoples of the Korean peninsula during the Bronze and Iron Ages. This was the form that established the roots of what would later become the modern Korean language. Homer B. Hulbert claimed that the Korean language was Ural-Altaic in his book The History of Korea, written in 1905. This family includes languages like Mongolian, Turkish, and Japanese. The classification of Korean as Altaic was introduced in 1928 by Gustav John Ramstad, but even within the Altaic hypothesis, the position of Korean relative to Japanese is unclear. The possible Korean-Japanese grouping within Altaic has been discussed by Samuel E. Martin, Roy Andrew Miller, and Sergei Sarostin, but others, notably Alexander Vovin, interpret the affinities between Korean and Japanese as an effect caused by geological proximity. Old Korean is the form of Korean spoken during the Three Kingdoms era. The use of Chinese by Koreans began in the 4th century or earlier, and the usage of Hanja began in the 6th century. There is very little literature for research in Old Korean. The first texts in Old Korean were written using Hanja to represent the sound and grammar of the local language. The point at which Old Korean became Middle Korean is assessed variously by different scholars. The line is sometimes drawn in the late Goryeo dynasty and sometimes around the 15th century in the early Chosun dynasty. It is usually thought that Middle Korea started at the establishment of Goryeo, and the standard language of Old Korean was changed from the Seolla dialect to the Goryeo dialect. The language standard of this period is based on the dialect of Quezon because the new Goryeo dynasty moved its capital city to the northern area of the Korean peninsula. During the 14th century, Hunminjeongeum, which roughly translates to the proper sounds for the instruction of the people, was developed by King Sejong of the Chosun dynasty. Hunminjeongeum was an entirely new alphabet for the Korean language. The script was initially named after the publication, but later became known as Hangul. It was created so that the common people, illiterate in Hanja, could accurately and easily read the Korean language. Eventually, Hunminjeongeum evolved into Hangul, the modern form of Korean. The changes were 13 obsolete consonants, 10 obsolete double consonants, 66 consonant clusters, 17 triple consonant clusters, 1 obsolete vowel, and 44 obsolete diphthongs and vowel sequences. Now that you've watched this presentation, you now know the basics of the Korean language history. Thank you for watching.